I want to talk about hairy bitter cress right now because this is a very what's the word for that? It doesn't get its recognition, okay? This plant is just ignored. No one even knows about it. Herbalists barely ever talk about it. Like, I didn't even know what it was, and I had it in my yard, and this is one that, you know, once I started looking at dandelions, like, that's not a weed, that's a dandelion, right? That's not a weed, that's chicory. That's not a weed, that's plantain, right? But when I looked at this one, I thought, okay, that's a weed. But then when I saw it had a flower, and I was like, you know, it has like a really cute little flower. Can you see it? It's so tiny. Tiny little white flowers, right? And I'm like, you know, it has cute little white flowers. I wonder if it's edible, right? So I find out it is edible. And then I started eating it. And that was a few years ago. I've been eating this that grows in my garden for 3 to 4 years now. And I started by just peeling off the little tips. See this little tip, how it has flowers? See the white flowers? Oh, you can see them a little better now. It has multiple tiny little flowers. And then it grows as the flowers fall off. And, you know, they get pollinated and everything. They grow little bean pods. And then they keep flowering. So you'll see it's very common for this plant to have little seed pods going at the same time with a flower on the end tip of it. So why would you want to eat this? First of all, it's called hairy bitter cress. If that name doesn't deter you, well, you're strong. You're not scared. Okay, I'll put it that way. You're not afraid. You're brave. So let's ignore the name and just go for why would you want to eat it. First of all, it's in the mustard family, right? It's highly nutrient dense. In 100-gram serving, right, it has 20 grams, about 20 grams of vitamin C. That's really good. It also would have about 30 micrograms of vitamin A and about 100 micrograms of vitamin K. So those are some vitamins that are, vitamin K is not that easy to, you know, it's not that common to get. It's like vitamin C is and everything, right? But not K, right? So this is a nice source for vitamin K. This also has a ton of potassium, iron. Let me think. Let's look online and see what else it has. Just kidding. But no, seriously though, this is a very, very nutrient dense herb. Okay. Secondly, the entire thing's edible. The flowers, the stem, the leaves, the roots, all of it. All of it's medicinal. I believe it has, let me see. I'm just checking my notes here because I have notes here. So yeah, it's very high in vitamin C and K. Skin health, anti-aging. So the vitamin C, flavonoids, helps boost collagen production. Okay. Helps elasticity of the skin. Bone and joint health, right? So the vitamin K, 100, okay, so 100 micrograms of vitamin K in a 100-gram serving of this is about 80% of your daily recommended intake. That's really good. That means if you get a 100-gram serving of this in once a day, you basically hit your mark for vitamin K, almost, right? Also good with heart health because it has a high potassium content, right? That counteraffects the sodium. So it has glucosinolates, which are compounds found in cruciferous vegetables. They are linked to reduced inflammation. They lower your heart issue risk, right? Then it helps with digestive health because it's bitter. All bitters stimulate bile production, and that starts getting the juices flowing. Those bitter tastes in your mouth, the moment your mouth tastes the bitter taste, you start getting more saliva. Your saliva, all the enzymes start being produced and excreted into the mouth, right? So here's another thing I want to tell you about hairy bitter cress. You can eat the roots. You could boil them. You could cut them really fine so you don't notice them, and then chop them up and throw them in a soup, right? To get the benefits. You could just cut the roots off and then save them for like throwing into soups, like I said, to add nutrients to your soup. Or you can make a tincture of the roots so that you can get all these benefits in a tincture or a whole plant tincture, right? If you don't feel like eating the roots, you chop them off, save them for later, and then you're left with some of this. So this is a plant that I pulled off the roots and now we're just looking at the stems. This is a grown-up adult plant. You know, it's time's almost up. You know what I mean? So you're going to notice at the bottom of these plants. So here's one I didn't de-root yet. You're going to notice there's a little like, oh, I kind of ripped them all off. Here's one. All right. This example is perfect. So when you look at the plant growing on the ground, you're going to notice a little rosette at the bottom. See how all the leaves are coming from a central point and all radiating outward? That's a rosette shape. Basal rosette is what that's called usually, where all the small leaves come out from a central point and they all radiate outward like the sun's rays. You know, they all go out all around in a circle all around, right, in every direction away. So you're going to notice a little clump of little small leaves at the bottom, and as you look up, you're going to see it's going to start having some flowers coming up, and then you're going to see these main stalks. And each of these is actually a separate plant. You could separate, and you can actually break this up and replant them. But each of these stalks, now, they're a little hard. You heard the snap? Did you hear that snap? Right? Let me see. Let's taste. It's crunchy. It's bitter. I don't enjoy it. I would definitely roast this, right? Now, wouldn't imagine. So this is a cruciferous vegetable. This is like broccoli. So what could we do with this? I would pull the flower off because it's very delicate. I would eat that raw. I would throw that in my breakfast. It's not enjoyable at all. But you know what's really funny about that? I've been eating this in my food every day for years, and I never noticed how bad it really is because I mix it into my lettuce, and I really don't notice it because it's mixed in, and you really don't taste it when it's mixed in with all the other and I don't even eat lettuce. I eat this. Okay. When I say my lettuce, I'll show you. This is my lettuce. This is my lettuce. A dandelion, violet leaves, violet flowers, grape hyacinth raceme. You don't eat the green part. You just pop the grape hyacinth flowers off. Oxalis, which many people call clover, right? What else do we have here? And then there's just hairy bitter cress all over with it. And dandelion flowers, right? That's what I eat for lettuce, okay? I don't just buy iceberg lettuce. I don't just buy lettuce. I just go outside and I literally bend over and pick flowers, leaves, edible greens out of the garden, and I bring them in the house and I wash them. I let them soak in vinegar or sea salts or citric acid or baking soda for about 15 minutes, and then you vigorously scrub them clean, and then you rinse it off, and then voila, you're ready. You can eat them. There's no worries about, pesticides and parasites and all kinds of stuff that you're worried about contaminating your plants from the soil and from the air, because honestly, store-bought stuff has way more. So the best thing you can get is from outside. Now, that's not true if you're eating from a toxic garden where they're spraying pesticides every day. In that case, you can't get those plants. But as long as the area you're picking it from is clean, organic, and not being sprayed with pesticides and like herbicides and rodent, poisons and stuff like that, as long as none of those poisons and toxic chemicals are being sprayed, and it's clean, you can pick the plants and they'll be way better for you. Even with how bad the air quality and the toxic chemical rain, acid rain, all this stuff is going on and it is bad. But think about it. If you're battling that in your yard, but you're not putting any synthetic inputs in your garden, it's completely organic, except for whatever is naturally occurring, whatever is going on that's out of your control in the air and water from the sky that's landing on your plants, right? Like if you don't have a greenhouse and you grow outside. So let's say your garden is contaminated slightly from the air quality, right? Well, an industrial garden, a conventional farm, industrial size, like a huge farm outside, they're going to have the same exact issues. But then they're also spraying and adding more chemicals, more pesticides. Then they're waxing and they're putting things on the plants, on the fruit, on the veggies to keep them fresh longer. And then when they get to the store, weeks later sometimes, they're sprayed with water that has been treated with more chemicals to keep the fruit fresh. So you're getting like so many different ways where this food is getting adulterated, contaminated in multiple different times and stages throughout the process of it being grown, harvested, shipped, and now maintained in the store until you buy it. Each of those steps has its own chemical and toxic adulteration method that they do to keep it preserved. Okay? That's their way of preserving. And it is not good for us. It's not toxic. I mean, it's not healthy. It's toxic. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to grow your own plants. And if you're really worried about like the air quality, the chemical acid rain, like then you need to get yourself a little greenhouse. You need to build some kind of an awning and, you know, some kind of a rooftop where you can keep your plants enclosed and have glass, you know, some kind of a clear ability for the sun's rays to go through it. And if you can do that, then you really don't have to worry. Like, and it's so easy to grow your own food. Like, it's unbelievably easy. Like, I literally open my door and I see 20 different species of edible wild weeds that I can pick from. And I don't have to walk very far to find a ton of food. Like, I actually always overpick and I pick way too much. And then when I come in, I'm like, I can't even eat all this. And then I end up putting half of it in the fridge. And then the next day, I got to eat whatever I picked yesterday. Plus, go outside and pick a little more, and then I overdo it again, and then end up with more in the fridge, and da-da-da-da-da, it keeps going. So, you know what I mean? It's just like a free supermarket, and I get so excited. I go outside, and I pick every single flower because, well, it's going to wilt. They only last like a day, right? So you get every single one, and it's fun. It's fun. I really like it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my rant about eating forage greens. Have a great day.